Hi, this is Dom from Tech Advisor, and we are here with the brand new Sphero Bolt. We're going to do a little unboxing, and then we're going to run through a few of the new features in the latest Sphero product. So, first off, let's get the outer box out. Right, here we go, the Sphero Bolt. So, as you can see, it's, well, a sphere, funnily enough. The sort of reflective packaging here might give away one of the key new features, which is a sort of 8x8 light matrix within the transparent Sphero. And yeah, this is pretty nice packaging, but let's see what we've got. All right, we've got to peel that. All right. Okay, get rid of that. And now we have the main box. Again, more shiny reflective stuff. It's really nice actually. They put some work into this. Okay. So, more B, this lightning bolt symbol. So we've got in here, we've got a few little bits. It's not just boring leaflets, though there's probably some of them. You get a set of stickers. Love a good sticker. That is the boring leaflet, the legal guide. And then the last thing we've got is this sort of cardboard protractor, and then on the reverse side you get a clock face, which is because they're kind of positioning a lot more, this again is like a kind of educational tool. This is something you'll be able to use to sort of work through programming the bolt if you want to program it to go in certain directions. This is just a kind of handy guide for like younger kids, I guess, who can figure out sort of the compass points and the 360-degree direction stuff. So we have the charging base, charging cable, and there we go. That is it, the Sphero Bolt. So see, it's about the same size as sort of the Spark Plus and a few of the older Sphero models. Totally transparent, so you can see everything that's going on inside. You can see all the bits, all the new components. So right here, we've got that light matrix. You can sort of set patterns up on that kind of stuff. And you can see all the sensors and stuff going on in there. There's a lot to unpack, and we will get to that and show what they do next. Right, so the first thing we notice about the Bolt once we turn it on is that LED light matrix, which is the big sort of brand new feature for this. As you can see, when we just turn it on normally, you just get this sort of grid of colors. We can also play around with that. This is in the sort of Play app. So you can set what color you want it to be, going through all of them, and also change the brightness all the way down to just turning it off entirely. Let's set it on that sort of turquoisey color. Cool. So as you're just sort of driving around, it'll just be lit up like that. This is pretty much just like any other Sphero. I'm gonna try not to write it off the desk. Much like in the recent ones, you've got an option, different ways to drive it. So that was just using the sort of on-screen joystick. You've also got things like tilt controls. So if I tilt the tablet, there we go. It's, yeah. And there we go, he's going way off. Little unwieldy on a small table, but you see where it's going. The sort of main new control option they've added in here is a slightly weird one called Kick, which has a strange football theme, World Cup inspired, I guess, where you sort of just like flick and then you can stop it. Oh, there he goes. The good thing is the Bolt is very sturdy, so he survived that fine. Okay, so the control stuff, this is all pretty standard Sphero stuff. This is the same as in any of the other ones other than the Kick feature, which you're not going to use for very long, I promise you. What's slightly new in the Play app are there's now some slightly different games. These are kind of familiar, but they do a nice job of showing off what the LED matrix does. So if we go into Exile 2, which is the sequel to Exile, which was in the Play app before, what we see is we immediately get a little animation on the matrix there of our ship. So this is a little sort of spaceship shooter. Very simple game, and you just play it by tilting the Bolt around. We see some more of that in Round Trip, which is another one of the sort of returning games. This is pretty simple, but you'll just see the color on the matrix change as we play. I'm really bad at this game, so this won't last very long. We can see it now, it's gone blue, now that I'm on a blue level. And as you can see, it's sort of changing as I go with the round. The ball keeps changing color to tell me which side I have to go for. So yeah, so that's the play app, which is basically the same as what it's before. If you've had a Sphero before, then you've used some of these mini games, you know that it's the kind of thing that's diverting for about 20 minutes and then you get kind of bored. So let's now go into the new updated Sphero Edu app, which is where we can really make the most of what the Bolt does. Right, okay, so this is the new updated version of the Edu app, though it's pretty similar to what you've seen before if you've had another Sphero. So what you get is the sort of two main bits, which are programs and activities. So programs are all little bits of software using the sort of coding features built into this app that you can sort of go through to make your Bolt do stuff, basically. So if we go into Hello World, which is obviously one of the sort of introductory ones, set them up there. So we get this whole mess of block-based coding. Looks very complicated, but if you pull back, it's not that bad. So it's all sort of, if-then functions and different stuff. You get different sort of color blocks for what kind of operator you're using. And this is all designed, so this is sort of one that Sphero's built itself. But I could take this, I could copy it to my device, and then I could play around with it. I could tweak it, I could change what I want it to do. But if we hit start, we'll see what this particular program is designed to do. Okay.
Hello World. Side 1. Side 2. Side 3. Side 4. Have fun.
Okay, and we'll find another one of those. Okay, how about this? There's Snake. So yeah, someone at Sphero has actually built the game Snake that is playable on the little matrix display. This shows off that in addition to that block-based coding, you've also just got full JavaScript. So if you actually just want to, if you know how to code in JavaScript or you want to learn, you can use the Bolt to do all that. And obviously this is a pretty complex one, and I don't know any JavaScript, so I won't delve into how that works.
Let's play Snake.
As we can see, we now have Snake on here. If I think I tap the Bolt somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I have to tilt. No. I'm apparently not very good at Snake either. As you can see here, these are all the apps, the programs that have been made by the team at Sphero, which obviously right now that's the majority of them. We've also got a community tab, so right now there's not much in there, but these are all the community submitted things. So if you come up with a program, you can send it into Sphero. This will all be curated, so to make sure everything actually works, to make sure there's no profanity, things like that. But it means there'll be a huge ecosystem of programs to use, as again, there already has been with the SPLK Plus and with the Sphero Mini, which are already sort of built into this app already. But there's going to be even more taking advantage of the Bolt tech, like that matrix display. We'll show off something else the Bolt can do that it couldn't do before, which is the light meter. So this is another of the new sensors that's built into the Bolt, which is it can detect the ambient light and react. So this is a little program Sphero has made, which basically turns the Bolt itself into a light meter. So if we load it up, see, in our studio lighting, it is freaking out because it is already very, very bright. If I cover up the sensor a bit, we can see it goes a bit dimmer. And if I let the light in again, it's gonna go nuts. There we go. So obviously you can use this sort of to test out in darker rooms. You could, if you're in a dark area, and then you could put your phone torch on top of it and that'll set it off. You could also use the light sensor to do other stuff. You could set it so that if the lights go out, then the light matrix turns on to max brightness to sort of turn your Bolt into a mini torch, stuff like that. One of the other cool sensors is actually something annoyingly I can't really show you doing anything. It's kind of the most exciting one though. There's now an infrared sensor in here, which the Bolt can use to talk to other Bolts. The problem is we only have one Bolt here, so I can't show you that. But you can see a couple of the programs here. There's this Bolt IR Rescue Victim and IR Rescue Hero. So this is something I saw the Sphero guys demonstrate for me, where one Bolt sort of plays a superhero and the other Bolt plays a victim. And the sort of one Bolt says, help, help, I'm in danger. And then after it's finished playing that out, it basically sends a signal to the other bolt. Now it's your turn to read your line. And so the bolts kind of can act out a little story, each one triggering the next one once it's done. They're also Sphero is saying that this is going to be updated over the next few months. We're going to have full sort of like swarm robotics features if you get enough bolts together, which is pretty exciting. Obviously, there's an educational focus to this. So in addition to these pre-built programs, you've got the activities tab, which gives you more stuff to sort of teach you how to do things. So if I go into the Matrix one, this will basically teach us how to use the Matrix, how to create our own animations. This is all sort of education-based. It's now got this new side-by-side thing. So while we've got the program on the right here, we've then got instructions on the left, including videos. You can mark things as complete once you're done. Teachers can use this in a classroom to actually sort of monitor which of their students have completed which steps, things like that. And you can get all these detailed instructions on how to do everything. So for this case, yeah, it's for a Matrix animation. I've already made one, but we can take a look at it. It just sort of goes through all these different slides of this sort of arrow going down the screen. And if we look at how that runs, we just have that little arrow playing down. Again, this is really similar to stuff to what the last Spheros have done, particularly the Spark Plus. This looks a lot like the Spark Plus. It's just there's new sensors in there now. The software's been updated, though that software update will roll out for people using the older models as well. So you get to take advantage of all that. The drive for the Bolt really is just, do you want to get to play around with this new light display? Do you want to get to play around with the light sensor? Do you want to try and like team up with people who have other bolts so that you can kind of create these sort of interactive IR games using multiple bolts at once? That's all the stuff you could never do with any Sphero before, and that's exciting. The big thing with any Sphero device is the price. This is $150 or £150 or 150 euros, which is a lot for a toy. As with any Sphero, sort of the play app stuff, you will get bored of really quickly. If all you want is something to drive around, it is not worth £150 or dollars. But if you think you're going to get stuck into coding, if you're going to want to learn how to create your own apps, create your own programs, create little games, this is a great way to learn. This is a great way to get into coding or to get your kids into coding. So probably worth the cost if that's what you think it's going to go.